first 24 hours of an investigation are crucial.
He was discovered 27 hours ago, ma'am.
Right.
There have been a few notable female buddy cop movies or series in the entertainment industry. As early as the 80s of Cagney and Lacey, or even the latest long-running show Rizzoli and Isles that was on TNT for like 7 seasons. Heck, even the blockbuster movie The Heat with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy was a good example of that. Studios seem to be hesitant to go ahead and actually put women together in buddy cop shows or movies, and I'm not quite sure why. There are definitely great dramatic actresses who would be dream team types of team up in a buddy cop movie. There's definitely comedic actresses that could pull off the comedy cop series, or we can have a typical different personality types that is the most common trope of buddy cop shows and movies. There's no reason a good couple of actresses couldn't pull this off, especially if they're well written. Prime Video tries for the latter in the Australian series Deadloch. I do like cop and detective series, but it's more about the mystery and investigation for me. It has to be an intriguing crime for me to really be pulled in. The main detectives need to either be smart and relatable in a drama series, or kind of be lovable goofs in a comedy. Since I'm definitely prone to watching a cop or a detective show over most network offerings, I'm going to consider myself a main target audience for this. A main character energy, if you will. Other people that will be mains for this type of series are mystery buffs and people that are looking for female-driven stories. But I'm also going to give some insight for casual viewers as well. Watching the first 2 episodes on new series on streaming content is what I'm all about. I evaluate them to see if they're worth your time, whether you're a target audience or you're a casual viewer. So if you like how that sounds, do me a favor, click a like, a share, subscribe, and let's get into this review. Deadloch premiered on Prime Video in June of 2023. The first season has 8 episodes, each coming in about 55 minutes. It stars Kate Box as Dulcie Collins, Madeline Sammy as Eddie Redcliffe, and Alicia Gardner as Kath York. It's described as a feminist noir comedy set against a bucolic backdrop with a rising body count. Some things to note when evaluating Deadloch. The feminist angle is very underrated for the setting. Deadloch is a small, quaint town that is populated heavily by women, most of which are lesbians. This is definitely a unique setting for any kind of story, and it's doubly unique when the murders that the detectives are solving are of men. Now, getting into the vibe and the setting, the small town police force only seem to have one competent cop, and that's the aforementioned Dulcie Collins. Now, she was a former detective in a big city, but has settled for the quiet life with her wife, Kath York. Dulcie is a very by-the-book, observationalist type of cop. She is slow and methodical. The rest of her force seems to be young and or dumb. Since she isn't a detective anymore, there wouldn't be one assigned to this small town, so the higher authorities send in a brash, fly-by the seat of her pants Eddie Redcliffe to lead the investigation of the murders that have just occurred in the town. Now, Eddie's character speaks her mind, she doesn't follow procedures, and she doesn't wait for answers. So, of course, we're paired with watching Collins and Radcliffe clash in their styles many times in the episodes. Both show their techniques and opinions working and being valid, and both show their approaches as being flawed. The real problem is that it's very difficult to like them or anybody in this series. The way that the characters are written, they are too over the top. No one actually sees or acts or even calls out the way that others act in the series. It becomes very mind-numbing. If I'm watching a detective comedy like Naked Gun, then everybody is always on, and I can deal with that because I know it's a straight-laced comedy. But here, they're intertwining comedic takes in a dramatic situation, and they aren't presented as very funny. Therefore, their funny personalities are just infuriating as incompetence masking as comedy. I will say the one character that I think is written pretty well is Abby Masada, played by Nina Oyama. You can see her character evolving from the very first scene, and while she's annoying at first, she starts to become better with time. I don't think the acting of everyone was necessarily bad, as I think they're acting in the way that they're written and directed. I just think that the characters aren't particularly good. Main target audiences will be annoyed by these characters and the storyboarding, but it's not a complete deal breaker. I do think that casuals will get tired of these characters really quick.
Trent's dead.
Very sorry, Gavin.
I love that guy like a brother.
He was your brother?
The mystery for this series is actually good in development. It's nothing super spooky or high stakes, but I think that it's written in a way that would indulge most mains as an engaging story, especially the way that it evolves in episode 2. The story is written in a way that casuals will find decent and entertaining. Some other things to kind of think about in this series: the setting of a mostly woman-driven town definitely has a catch-22 aspect of it. On the pros, it has women being the primary decision makers, them in power roles, and feeling relatively safe in their community. The cons are possibly construed as a male-hating series. Some of the men, even the straight women in town, are bigoted against some or most of the lesbians in the town. It seems the makeup of this town and how it came to be may have something to do with the history of the murders. I'm not giving any type of commentary on the presentation, only that's a point worth noting. So that's all my initial thoughts and review and things like that. What is my actual conclusion for this? For mains, I'm going to say watch the first 2 episodes. The acting is decent. The storyboarding is a bit too much, but the story and the mystery itself is solid. You have to suspend your disbelief against the police procedures and overall stupidity of some of the townsfolk. But the story is worth giving 2 episodes to see if it speaks to you as a main audience member, because there is a decent mystery here. Now, for casuals, I'm going to say watch 1 episode. The unique setting and good story are good enough to give it an episode of your time. A couple of the characters could endear themselves to you and would really make you want to watch more. So again, for my main target audiences, give it a 2 episode watch. For casual viewers, give it a 1 episode watch. And that's what I have for Deadloch on Prime Video. Give it a watch.
So good to feel the heat from all sides. That way you get cooked alive faster.
You stayed for the entire review. I appreciate you. I really do. Do me a favor, if you liked it that much, click like, subscribe to the channel, share it out there, do all that kind of good stuff. Or you can even go and actually check out one of these other videos out here that the algorithm seems to think that you might like of mine. But until the next review, I'll holler at you. Take care of yourself.